Hey there everyone. The last video I made was about new skill runes, and one of them that was featured was Avalanche. I named the video Avalanche OP, and there's some people who are very skeptical about it and said it wasn't so good. They didn't know what I was talking about. I just want to clarify the OP bit of it is not the damage output. Like if you use it on a single target, it doesn't do a load of damage. The OP bit of it is the fact that it multiplies for the number of enemies it hits. So not only does it hit all of them in that little area, but actually you'll get a double the number of avalanche bits coming down. So you can see there, it actually did a lot of damage. And anyway, also my stats were low, so it didn't give a full representation of what it's like. So what I've done is I've boosted my stats up. You can see my damage here, crit damage very high, and I've got 250% water. Plus I'm going to be using Master of Ice, giving another 200%. So this is kind of top end stuff of how powerful you can be, and I'm just going to show show the avalanche itself, how much it will do by itself. You can see there, definite chunks each time, but not like a ridiculous amount of damage. And my damage output as a whole, what it's going to be like is more like this. So it's a small part of it. You can see like a lot of the damage is without avalanche when I'm putting in the other stuff. So yeah, as a standalone skill, it's almost identical to Water Beam now. If you look at the numbers of it, it's almost identical water damage. It's damage over time, over the same kind of time. The only thing is actually it does less base damage. So it's a slightly weaker Water Beam that's got a slightly longer cooldown. And that's how it works in PvE, and the main thing about it there is that it hits in a small area, whereas Water Beam hits only a single target. But you can only use it on stuff which is standing still. Anyway, a place to more properly show it is going to be in this tournament map, Shadow Souls. So the boss here is a little bit squishy, so I can kind of feel strong, I can look strong. And I'll show you now what it's like to do it just fighting it normally, using Avalanche, but only hitting just the boss with Avalanche. So not using the sort of buggy effect, which is what I called overpowered. So I'll use my skills properly, and you'll see how long it kind of takes to kill this boss. That's kind of, yeah, how fast the boss health goes down, how squishy it is. Takes a little while, but not too long because I'm really strong. Now I'm going to show it, and I'm going to attempt to do it in a one-shot with Avalanche. And you'll see what I do. I'm basically going to use the enemies to multiply the number of times Avalanche goes off. And this is what I was calling OP. So I'll get him to spawn all the suicide enemies. And then now I've got to avoid them, because I'm not actually invincible. Alright. 5, can I do it with 5? I don't know if he will spawn more when they're still out. Let's take a look. Would he spawn more? Ooh, okay, yes he will. But or I can just use a potion. Okay, here we go. So now I'm going to line them up so they are stood next to him. Can use Master of Ice, hit Avalanche on it. There we go, one shot. And look, there's loads to spare. Like it was like just instant death on the boss. Absolutely ridiculous. And this is what I was calling overpowered about it. You can't use that in all situations, and obviously you can't do it in PvP. But in PvE, there are situations when you can do it, and then it just goes absolutely ridiculous. I don't think that this is intended, purely for the reason of just how strong it is. So I'm going to again do it on the event here. I'm going to just, do it, fighting it normally. This guy and then the boss. This event's fairly easy if you're strong. You can just kind of overpower the first boss and then the second boss. I mean, obviously I've got a cooldown pot active right now, so that makes things a lot easier. I'm getting a bit of lag, but yeah. Anyway, okay. Take them down. I can't use Avalanche when there are other enemies there, because otherwise it's not a proper representation of it. I'm going to take them down first. Okay, now we can start using Avalanche again. So yeah, boss nearly dead. Obviously I was jumping around a bit, wasn't fully just attacking, but now I'm going to do it and try and do the same thing again, line up an Avalanche, and then I'm not sure if I can get a one-shot, actually, because there aren't quite so many enemies. I think I nearly did when I was testing. I was trying to get the balance of the right amount of strength and water bonus and that kind of stuff to kind of show off how strong it is without just being, ridiculously overpowered that you just go, oh, well, okay, well, you're just really strong, so that's why it happened. Alright, so first boss down. Now what I'm going to do is just run around and try and group up some enemies and line them up with the boss. So, circle round. Ooh, I'm getting there. Slowly coming in towards the centre. What I'm going to do now? Maybe? No, not quite yet. Pull them up. Okay, now. Yep, easy one shot. I mean, I don't need to be this strong. I could be a lot weaker and probably do it. In fact, let's try this now. Alright, I've now adjusted my stats. I'm promotion 70, if you wanted to know. Before I was promotion 150. So my damage is quite a bit lower. Crit damage, that's the most essential thing. That's dropped a lot. So now my crits are not going to be doing very much at all compared to the way they were before. And 150% water. So let's give this another go. See if I can put off a one-shot. I'm not sure if it will be able to do it. I just kind of picked random numbers now, so no testing before. We'll do the test right now. Oh, I'm going to feel weak right now. Use a lot of Drakes, see how they do. Drake's always going to be strong, so Nature Drake especially. Very strong skill rune. I pointed that out before when it came out. Is that his avalanche there going on me? It's like a random avalanche happening. Not sure if it's actually, if it's the boss or me. Okay, now I've got to do the same thing, except I'm a bit weaker, so will more easily die if I'm not careful. Okay, I can't remember if this boss moves. Does he run around? Does he stay still? Yeah, he does run around. Okay, because I can try and move him over to these guys around the outside. That might be possible to do. But anyway, it looks like they're lining up. So if I can just get to the other side, pull them in. Oh no, the small enemies. There aren't so many small enemies. But no, not a one shot. I did half his health, but I think it was fewer enemies than before. Okay, so let's see if I can line up some more. He does spawn more enemies, I think. But don't know how long I have to wait. Anyway, yeah, I'm sure you get the idea of like how ridiculously overpowered it is, and if you can in some content line up one shots, then you can. Which I've never seen anything like this in the game before, where you can line up one shots. But anyway, that's what I was calling overpowered about this skill rune, and I hope this is a better representation of how it is overpowered in that kind of situation, and why I think it's an awesome skill rune, and it's cool that it works this way, but personally I don't think it should work this way. I think it should just have that that air of effect, and the hitbox on it it's small, but it's big enough so that it can definitely hit multiple enemies, and I think it's a very nice hitbox. I think it's very fair and good for that. And it might be a bit of a nightmare to hit in PvP, but good enough. I think there's probably enough in there that you can like slow and stun enemies to then place Avalanche on them, and then benefit from that higher damage than you would have otherwise. The only thing is it's damage over time rather than like instant damage, so maybe it wouldn't be so good. I don't know. I'll have to see in practice. I always use Flame Cannon, so because I have high fire stat. And I really like that's consistent. I don't need Master of Ice in order to do good damage. And yeah, so I might end up sticking with that rather than going with Avalanche. But Avalanche is an interesting twist on the skill, makes it much better in PvE, and should be good fun. Crystal Armor as well, people said, and pointed out, I mean, I should have made a bigger deal about this. It was just that Avalanche is such a big deal that I focused on that. But Crystal Armor is also extremely good. I mean, that's doing roughly, well, 50% water twice per second. It's roughly 100% water damage every second, which is insane as a damage per second booster. So, you know, there are many things in the class now which are like tend towards fighting in melee. I mean, Flame Breath is one of our biggest hitters. If you get your fire stat high, this is like going to increase the damage per second hugely. It's what gets the majority of my kills in PvP, running around with Flame Breath on. And so if you have Flame Breath and then also this new Crystal Armor, and you have a high fire and water stat, then your damage per second simply from standing next to an enemy is going to be really high. And yeah, so all our skills now are getting boosted to be better damage per second, which is very, very good for the wizard. We've always struggled in that regard. Had skills which are kind of, they do cool effects, but in terms of damage, just nowhere near the other classes. And yeah, so now there's a lot more there. Anyway, that's where I'm going to wrap up this video, because I'm just going to go on and not really actually add anything interesting to this video. So thanks very much for watching. I hope this has given a better representation of what Avalanche is like, and I will be mentioning it to Rumble to see if this is how they intended for it to work. If not, it will be nerfed. So this will be the last video which you see of me using it in this super buff state. But anyway, thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.